my colleague from Middlesex for her leadership on this issue. I'd also like to thank my colleague from Worcester for his leadership over so long and over so many efforts to put this bill together today, which is an incredibly important a bill for our families, not just for our women, but for everyone in our Commonwealth who is suffering from these issues. I want to specifically discuss our Millennial Engagement Initiative, which has been a focus Thank you, Mr. President, which has been a focus of this chamber, of this body, has been a bipartisan effort to engage with young people in our Commonwealth. We have done roundtables across the state, including around many college campuses, where this issue has come up again and again, in location after location, in venue after venue. People, both men and women, have been coming to us and explaining to their elected officials and to the Senate how important this issue is. I've seen it in my role now in the Senate, and I also unfortunately saw it in my previous life as a residential advisor at a college. Right now, 1/5, I want to repeat that, 1/5 of college women will experience a sexual assault. 1/5. 1 out of every 5. And importantly, as much as 90% of those assaults go unreported. 90%. And for those people who do report and are brave enough to step forward and talk to someone or report what's happened to them, the system, quite frankly, is broken. And that's what this amendment is aimed at fixing. Right now, there is a 15-year statute of limitation to bring a sexual assault charge in this state. 15 years, which is an appropriate amount of time because these are very sensitive cases that often involve people that the victim knows personally and often needs time to gather evidence and to get to a place where they're comfortable enough to come forward. Despite the fact that there's this 15-year statute of limitations, the rape kits get destroyed after 6 months unless an affirmative request is made by the victim to extend that rape kit's storage. And what makes this even more shocking is they have to do it every 6 months. So the victim requests that the rape kit be protected for 6 months. 6 months later, they have to go back and request another extension. Keep in mind the statute of limitations is 15 years, which means that a victim might have to request this 30 times. Now, to put that in human terms for a second, we are asking victims to relive their trauma every 6 months and go to a state official to request that the basic evidence of their case be protected and preserved. Now, we have a lot of lawyers in this room right now. We all know how important evidence is to building a case and to bringing a charge forward. Imagine if the evidence from your case, what might be the most traumatizing and violent experience of your life, is at risk of being destroyed every 6 months unless you take the affirmative step to go and protect.
The gentleman. Again, the Chair would respectfully ask the members, staff, and their guests to please subdue their conversation so that the debate may proceed unimpeded and members may hear what is being said. The Chair recognizes the Senator from Hamden, New Hampshire, Mr. Lesser.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I appreciate my colleagues' understanding of the seriousness of this issue. I would like to put this in personal terms in the context of a person, a former Massachusetts resident who has brought this issue to national attention. Her name is Amanda Wynn. She was assaulted on a college campus in Massachusetts in 2014, and every 6 months she has to go back to Massachusetts to request an extension of the rape kit that holds the evidence of her assault and that is essential to ultimately bring charges or do something about the assault she experienced. She's built a national movement, has traveled all over the country, has even gotten the United States Congress and the United States Senate involved in this issue, and has gotten other states to follow suit as well. I've discussed what we've learned about how important this issue is on our college campuses through our millennial roundtables. Our role as senators, our role as lawyers, people who understand and appreciate the value of evidence. Mr. President, I also would like to speak as the father of a 3-year-old daughter. I do not want her growing up in a legal regime that blames the victim. We have a legal system in place right now that puts the pressure on the victim of sexual assault to affirmatively go back to the state every 6 months just to protect the evidence that's essential to proving their assault and to seeking justice. How dysfunctional and upside down is that? This amendment, sponsored by my colleague from Middlesex, makes, on paper it seems like a small change, but for the lives of the nearly 400,000 sexual assault victims in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, makes the world of difference. By redirecting our legal system away from an antiquated and frankly anachronistic notion that the victim of sexual assault should be the one to bear the burden, and instead to begin to focus on protecting justice and making sure that basic evidence, these rape kits, are protected for the length of the statute of limitations. I thank my colleague from Worcester for his leadership on this issue and this vitally important bill. I want to thank my colleague from Newton for this amendment, and I respectfully and urgently ask my colleagues to support this amendment.